I'm Gabriel Fairman. I'm the founder and CEO of EuroWorks. I feel more like my role is basically the cheerleader. The brains of our company is Enrique. He's here with us, our CTO. We have an amazing team, great culture. I feel privileged to be a part of our team. It's really beautiful. We're building good things. Our translation management system grew 300% in the past 12 months as far as users and adoption. And I think the main reason is actually, it reflects in the tech, but it's the culture. I think we have a team that feels very comfortable taking risks, doing things that are outside the box, do things that make sense, and not just doing things because other people are doing them. So I feel very proud to be a part of this community. And when we talk about this dilemma of machines that make us more human, I think it's important to point out that historically we've had a very big dichotomy between everything that's human and everything that's machine. We go back into our past and we talk about, for instance, romanticism versus modernism. If we go back into the classics, this dilemma between everything that's mechanized versus everything that's humanized, it's been present and very prevalent with us. And I think now more than ever, this is really impacting people's lives in a very significant way. In a way that impacts people directly in terms of their sense of worth, directly in terms of how much money they make or don't make. So we're at the verge of something that's just beginning and is impacting people very significantly. And when we think about things that are human, we think about things that are very personal, very ineffable often, and things like doubting, things like suffering, things like wondering, things like dreaming, right? These are very human things. And when we think about machines, at least me personally, but I do believe that this is part of the collective conscious canon, we think about things like Terminator. We think about things that are predictable, emotionless, mechanical, often tyrannical. And this dichotomy is pretty clear, and I have also the privilege of talking to many people in different camps. So I give workshops to hundreds of translators, I talk to translation agency owners, I talk to people like Wada'a and Luciano that are at the helm of the localization industry in terms of best practices and adoption. And I see how spread we are as far as this dilemma. There are many people that fear tremendously everything that's happening. There are people that embrace and adopt this. But for me, it's important to explore what this means in practice, because I don't know what the future holds, but I do have a pretty good grasp on today. And this is the question that we're going to explore today, right? Which is, what if we're reaching a new point in time in which we can leverage technology to accentuate precisely the aspects which most distinguish us as human beings, right? So it's a bit of a paradox. It's a very simple paradox, but it is a bit of a paradox, which is, can machines make us more human, right? Can technology actually accentuate what makes us human as opposed to derail it? I'm going to hand it over to Luciano, who's going to talk about a program that Luciano's company developed in partnership also with EuroWorks regarding Japanese single mothers. Please, Luciano.
Sure. Yeah, so this program, just to give you a little bit of context, it started out because my marketing team began exploring using AI to create content in English by parsing a video, reading a bunch of blogs, and then generating new content out of nowhere in English, right? And so we thought that eventually content might be created in other languages without any source in English. And then who's going to review that content, right? So I need to prepare for that scenario, who know the topic that's being discussed or written, and who can find hallucinations, who can identify any issues there. So, okay, so we started a pilot project where we thought, let's just kind of do baby steps here. Let's use a program where we have source, but we have reviewers who don't speak English, okay? Because I can always tag along with help from EuroWorks, a reviewer who knows English and Japanese in this case, to make sure that my content is correct. So we set out to maybe take 3% of my content to be translated with AI in a very productive way. And then we hand that off to these Japanese mothers to review the content, and they don't speak English. So they are learning automation. So another kind of aspect of this program is if we're going to do something with technology, let's kind of do something that can, help with the social impact, do something for good. So we identified a partner in Japan who had a pipeline of single mothers in Japan who have a very difficult time getting a good job. And we thought that, maybe they can become language people, they can become linguists, but they also can become RPA programmers. We can teach them how to program, and maybe we can help them to get better jobs, better opportunities. So we hired 3, I think in Dublin, who spoke about this. One went into a full-time job as a linguist, another one got training with us. Another one actually learned our technology quite well, and she's now full-time as a programmer, right? And then we're onboarding 2 more now. So we're starting to create a little bit of a chain there, which is very positive. And that's the program. I don't want to take the time to talk more, but in essence, this is the program. We're experimenting, and in about 2 more months, we'll have a lot of data about added distances and a lot of justifications on whether this should be expanded or not. I'll leave it.
Thank you so much for that, Luciano. And I think I can't even describe how beautiful this is, because we're talking about taking people who didn't have a job opportunity, and through the use of AI, and now not only can they find a source of income, but they can also reattach themselves to a source of self-worth, which is super important. And this is one of the things that I most learned from Wada'a, working with Wada'a. Wada'a is incredible at understanding transcreation and what different markets needs, particularly for power brands. So when we were developing this, I always have you in mind, Wada'a, because I was like, oh, if we had that back in 2017, how much better could things have been, right? And yeah, would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so following your inspiring examples is not an easy feat, but here's my take on it. With Gen AI and machine learning, professionals are finally breaking free from the daily repetitive activities that stifle creativity and stall growth. If you think about it, if you want to reach a certain level of expertise in any field, you have to put in 10,000 hours of work. It's scientifically proven. But once you log these hours, routine sets in, the memory muscle is so strong, but it comes with a level of stagnancy that you don't see in your daily activities because it's hidden in your day-to-day. And that's what leads for our creativity and our growth to stall. AI came to disrupt all this. We've seen it on the buyer side of the business, and we've seen it on the vendor side of the business. For example, back in Lockworld, back in June in Dublin, I touched on the topic of how the vendor's role is now evolving from heavy lifters to gatekeepers. AI is now doing all of the heavy lifting. And now the vendors are fine-tuning this last mile of hyperlocal content prior to launch. Now that role demands thought leadership. There's no redundancy there. Each project is unique with its requirement. So every day it's constant learning and growth. If we move on to the buyer side of the business, our area, through AI and machine learning, we were able to automate dozens of daily project management and admin activities that helped our team break free from the daily grind and act more as thought leaders and solution architects. So these are some examples from the buyer side and the vendor side of the business. Now I want to share a case that is very dear to my heart because it probably had a 10% chance of success. But thanks to the human connection side of things and with partnership with Bureau Works, we were able to pull it off. When I led localization at Harley-Davidson Motor Company, we had an urgent need to onboard copywriters that had a creative writing background, but also motorcycling experience. So traditional recruiting was not going to cut it there, right? You're not going to find this highly specific profile on LinkedIn or Indeed across nearly 96 markets, 44 languages. So we had this idea, it was an unorthodox idea, to tap into our dealer network. We had access to hundreds of riders around the globe. And we were able to identify some riders who were retirees, bloggers. They shared their journeys on the open roads through various social media networks and touch points. So we reached out to them and invited them to become part of our copywriting body. And you're looking at our most loyal brand advocates. they jumped on it right away. Some of them were so excited about the opportunity that they wanted to work pro bono. So this led us to work with Bureau Works on developing the tech side of things, right? We needed a tool to train these copywriters, onboard them, and manage and govern the daily activities. And it was a groundbreaking success because we were blending brand loyalty with creative and quality content through engaging with this untapped talent. So that's just a few examples that I could think of where machine, at least in my professional journey, has been an ally. Now, I want to acknowledge that there's a growing fear of AI replacing professionals. And I don't think we should downplay it or ignore it because that would be delusional, right? But I think we need to frame it. The way I see it is that it has the behaviors that we're observing now in corporate America specifically has less to do with AI and more to do with the behaviors that are being exhibited by leaders at the C-staff and E-staff level. And I'm seeing nodding heads. There's this frenzy around quick wins, cutting costs, expedited time to market, and it cascades to middle management and even senior management, and there's this growing anxiety, and it results in bad decisions and reactive decisions and also miscalculated decisions. Now, I do feel that this storm is gonna pass. We're gonna get to a point where we're gonna balance, understand the roles and responsibilities between AI and humans. We're gonna get there. But until then, I think we have a responsibility as professionals to embrace AI, understand how it works, and leverage what's relevant to your business areas.
Well said. That's beautiful. I agree.